Chapter 27, A Fleet of Our Own. In VIC 2955 transmission, celebration archived, servers restored. The banners came down, the rentenooms dispersed, the stations breathed again. The silence that followed Invictus was less a calm and more a vacuum. Kate liked it that way. Interior, the Bone Marrow, bridge. Ship had been quiet for 2 days, the kind of quiet that meant people were recovering in different ways. Fuji, sparring with ghosts on the cargo deck. Nick, buried in cables. Bublina, humming to herself in 2 incompatible octaves. Kate had been in her quarters with spreadsheets and cigars, weighing their recent contracts and cut percentages like a necromancer might weigh bones. She emerged into the bridge, cloak trailing, datapad in hand. Everyone report to the hangar. Nick, from under the floor, voice muffled. I'm kind of inside a conduit. Now. Interior, Orison hangar, later. The crew gathered, blinking under the bright artificial sky of the Crusaders' shipyards. Fuji leaned silently against a railing. Graham adjusted his gloves with quiet curiosity. Bublina hovered above, already recording the occasion in vintage grain. Nick arrived last, covered in thermal paste and regret. Kate tapped her datapad. A pair of landing lights flared to life across the hangar, and then she arrived. Not a sleek racer, not a luxury yacht. A beast, but a beautiful beast. A ship with curves forged in war and bulk meant for violence. 2 decks, gun turrets, missile racks, the kind of ship that didn't ask permission before firing. A Constellation Andromeda. Kate, to the crew. We have a new addition. Nick, awed. Is this ours? Kate, combat vessel, midweight cargo, fully modular. She's called Clot Carrier until someone thinks of something worse. Fuji, quietly. It is good. Graham, low whistle. She's got more teeth than a wolf in heat. Bublina, I vote we name her Exsanguinatrix. It has a good mouthfeel. Kate, take your time deciding. The Bone Marrow remains our flagship. This one's for when we want to make a mess. Later that week, Fuji, not to be outdone in quiet competence, had secured his own new toy, a Hornet F-7C Mark II. It gleamed like a war anthem and flew like an apology too late. It had no name. Fuji didn't name things. It was meant for escort runs and solo strikes, and perhaps thinking clearly at speed. He never said so. But Bublina caught him once staring at the hangar reflection just a little bit too long. Graham, in his downtime, had finally managed to land his Mustang Alpha upright 3 times in a row. He now flew small ops out of ArcCorp's lower rings under Fuji's tutelage. The sessions were calm, precise, mostly quiet. Occasionally, Graham asked questions like, so if I bank left and deploy countermeasures mid-descent, does that trip the mass limiter? And Fuji would reply, no, but your engine might explode. It's a good test. They worked well together. Old soldiers, new worlds. Nick, for his part, rarely left the Bone Marrow. He was building again. Something, many things. An entire branch of the ship's logic tree he couldn't let anyone else see yet. When asked what he was doing, he'd say, fixing the way the universe talks back. When pressed, he'd mutter, not fixing, teaching it to be funnier. Bublina visited often. Sometimes they both stared at the terminal together in silence. Once, the screen blinked on by itself and said, I remember Lethal Company. Never again. They laughed, then reinstalled the firewalls. Epilogue, a moment of stillness. In the crew lounge, Kate finally relaxed. Not entirely, but enough to lean back and sip from a cup not brewed in fear. They had a freighter, a gunship, a fighter, a scout, a floating AI soda can, and each other. Things were quiet. The next patch hadn't hit yet. Kate, softly. Let's ruin the peace while it lasts.